been getting bad news all night, swimming in a safe place, that's right, try. You'll never get a chance to rewind. You say that you can, but don't. I need an antidote. When safe and sound comes burning down, I've been getting bad news all night, letting go of high hopes that just died.
I'm watching where I walk, touching every aftershock from the heavy steps you take. I'll separate. I need a victory. Falling away from where I wanna be, falling away from the shelter I seek, falling away from the fresh air to breathe. Everything that's sacred to me is just out of arm's reach.
I've been getting bad news all night, swimming in a safe place, that's right, try. You'll never get a chance to rewind. You say that you can, but don't. I need an antidote. When safe and sound comes burning down, I've been getting bad news all night, letting go of high hopes that just died.
Die! Falling away from the fresh air to breathe. Everything that's sacred to me is just out of arm's reach. Watch them flee. Watch them flee. Watch them flee. Hip hop heads.
You do it like this.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of XCW Freetime Interview. Of course, I am your host Fletch, and I am sitting here alongside someone that I think everyone is anticipating in this season of Freetime Interview. I'm sitting here with Hunter Halcyon. You know, I gotta say right off the bat, by the time this comes out, a lot of people are already going to be seeing a lot of these changes, but the changes in your character right now, people are just eating up. And the work that you've done in just the 2 seasons you've been here are absolutely unbelievable, and I wanted to get that out on the public so everybody knows, from me to you. It's been unreal, the work that we've put in on your character and the slow burn of your character over the last couple of years.
I completely agree. And I just want to put it out for the record, this character wouldn't be anywhere near what it is right now without the guidance of you, the guidance of guys like Corey Lee, Leon Lux, Brogan O'Shea. They've all played such integral parts of my character. Last year I got to really get my bumps in, so to say, cut my teeth here with much of the XCW roster, and this year was more of just spreading my wings, showing people what Hunter Halcyon truly is. So I'm excited to show you all what we got in store for you.
Now we get to pull back the curtain a little bit, and we're not going to be talking to Hunter, we're going to be talking to Cody, and we're going to get his perception on your personal views in terms of what happens here in XCW and the participants of XCW and so on and so forth. So let's get this going. All right, so right off the bat, you've had the opportunity over the last couple of years to really watch a lot of wrestlers develop, watch some of these legends come in and out, and even more so in the last couple of years, we've had more legends in and out than we have in past years. So who has been your favorite XCW superstar to watch?
God. Well, I would say on active roster, my favorite person to watch, I'm not kissing ass, it would either be you, for how willing and creative you are in the ring.
You know, a lot of people, almost every episode that we've done thus far in the season have said you. So
really?
Almost every single one.
Damn, I appreciate that. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. But no, I'd say either you or Corey Lee, or even Leon, just because your guys' mentality, your psychology in the ring, your footwork, your crowd work, it's all just top notch. And to see people come back in like Leon Lux, like Chris Jones, who's been tearing it up in the few matches that he's had, even though he's a dick. No, I'm playing. I love you, Chris. But It's been awesome. Absolutely amazing.
Now, you've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with myself, Leon, Corey, and you're going to, you know, I'm just going to put it out there, you're going to have the opportunity to work with Chris Jones in the future. So, with that being said, what is your favorite superstar? Who is your favorite superstar that you'd like to work with?
Ooh, that I would like to work with?
That you have.
Oh, that I have?
Yeah, who's been your favorite?
Honestly, I'd have to say, just because of how much I've learned and how creative and so deep some of the spots have gotten and the callbacks, Leon Lux. What a fucking pro that guy is, man.
Absolutely.
Absolute, genuine, just specimen in that ring. I've never met somebody so naturally talented and on the fly willing to push such awesome things forth to the viewers. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And I love to have Leon here in XCW to you know, bring his knowledge back to our roster and to be able to help this company grow. And even in just 2023, that XCW has grown massively. Yeah. So, with that being said, you have quite a few shows under your belt, a couple of years worth. Is there a particular show that stands out to you as just the best?
Man, my first Summer Mania with you. That nothing will hit harder than knowing that I was the last Mr. Summer Mania Cup winner, and I did it with the owner of the company in my first big show, and I went over. That I can't ask for a better present wrapped up in a bow than that. I just can't. Close second though, my second Summer Mania Brogan O'Shea,
which also won Match of the Year.
Absolutely.
We got robbed.
Agreed.
So here's an interesting question. Probably a lot of people don't know. How did you get your start here in XCW?
Wow. Well, wrestling has always been on the forefront of my mind. Since I was 3 years old, all I've wanted to do was wrestle. It's been my only dream, my only career I could see myself doing. So when I heard about XCW, it was through my half-brother, Sean.
Who was friends with Tommy Merriman. A little context of that.
He got me in contact with Tommy, and it was supposed to be I just come out, just watch the show, see if I like it. Turned out I got in there, took a cyclone, started flip bumping, and y'all said, yep, you're on the roster. So
and then we went to work right after that.
Absolutely. Started working on a character right then and there.
I think your first training session would have been with Floyd and SAT.
And ACT.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Jaden Tucker was there, I believe, if I believe right. But it was just a crazy time. It was so quick, and it was so... I didn't expect it to happen like that. But God, I'm so glad it did.
And then, unfortunately, your debut got delayed about a month. So
yeah, I had kidney problems. That's something y'all may not know. I may be 20 years old, but I have kidney stones like an 80-year-old man, and they break my body.
It's okay. I'm 35 and I have a liver disease. So, so we talked about your favorite shows, a couple of Summer Manias that you've been through. Is there a particular show that just stood out to you? You're just like, this is a total shit show.
Oh man, I gotta think about that because we really don't have many.
We don't.
We have our moments. We have our moments, as any wrestling company does. But I honestly can't think of one. I can remember a lot of technical difficulties that
sure
definitely pissed you off, but
doesn't take much.
Yeah, I mean, especially when somebody doesn't record a big Summer Mania match with 20 years of build. This guy. I'm the one who fucked up main camp for Justin Parsley and Fletch, and I feel horrible for it every day. Parsley, if you're seeing this, I love you, and I will kiss your feet to make up for it.
I think the match still ended up on the card. I think everybody still thoroughly enjoyed it, even though we only got one side to the show. But I'm sure that it's not the last that Justin and I will be in a ring.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
So to this point, I mean, you've had a lot of big moments in your career, tagging with Blackheart in your very first match here. You won the tag team championship with me, won Mr. Summer Mania Cup. You've been international champion, and now you're working with some of the biggest top talents that could ever come through. So what, in your opinion, is the biggest moment overall in XCW, what in your opinion is the biggest moment, and then also your biggest moment?
The biggest moment in XCW, I would have to say the day it was founded. Because since that day, it's been nothing but hard work, elbow grease, and so much camaraderie. It's been a family. Even though there's been tumultuous times, I can say that everybody here is bonded. We're all blood, whether we like it or not. So,
yeah, I mean, there's still guys that you know, things can fall off. There's bad blood, and they may not talk to me or just the guys for years and years and years. And
Absolutely.
you know, we proved at encounters that you can pull off anything. The second the Vapor walked through that curtain,
exactly.
after being gone since 2017, just proves that nothing's off the table. So
Exactly, and it goes for that old phrase in wrestling, never say never.
what about for you? What do you feel like has been your biggest moment?
Man.
Maybe not your biggest accomplishment, but just like a big moment.
Honestly, I'd have to say lasting from number 1 to 30 in the Extreme King. Because that, you guys don't understand how hard that is.
I do.
It's
awful.
You're in the hottest weather imaginable. Because it's the dead of summer. You're in there with nothing but big sweaty men that are beating you up. You're beating them up. There's no rest in there because you're always trying to throw somebody out or keep yourself from being thrown out.
Right.
It's a battle of wits. It's
Yeah.
the biggest chess game.
Back in 2019, myself and Hazard decided we were going to kick off Extreme King. And I lasted until, I believe, Final 4. And the final 2 would have been Genocide and Venom. Venom was the defending XCW champion. That was the only time that the championship had ever been on the line. And in that match, I lasted from number 1 and never again. So obviously, we talked about some of your big moments. What, in your opinion, has been a turning point for you in your XCW career, where really something happened and it was like that aha moment where you're like, all right, I finally made a name for myself, and I'm finally somebody that people are going to look at forever as like one of those top guys?
I honestly would have to say when I won the international title. I feel like once I won the international title, I knew I was ready for that. There wasn't a doubt in my mind, oh, am I going to mess up this title run? What am I going to have to do? I was ready to go.
And then you had the second longest international championship reign in company history. So
Sadly, the second. But you can always be the first.
So obviously, coming into our territory, I mean, there's always the risk of injuries and stuff like that.
Yes.
If anybody knows anything about injuries, it's probably me. But what is the worst injury that you've sustained since you've began your career?
Man, it'd actually have to be one I'm still dealing with right now. I've tried to keep it like under wraps from a lot of people, because if it is bad, I don't want it to be, and I don't want to deal with what comes with that. There's a little match, the Fatal 4-Way, that got voted for Match of the Year between myself, Jackson Law, Evan Phoenix, and Leon Lux. There was a spot in the corner. It was a freak accident. There's nobody to blame on it.
Honestly, most of them are.
Yep, that's how this thing goes. You do it perfect till you don't. But
Perfect. Yeah.
I was sitting in the corner, ready to take a move. Jackson came running in for a drop kick. I tried to move my foot out of the way, but it wasn't quick enough. My foot was straight up. He did basically a senton on my foot. So I've been dealing with that throughout the rest of the year, but we're holding strong. We're holding strong.
Well, hopefully nothing bad. We have 6 weeks off right now, so
Absolutely.
Had a conversation, a little breaking the fourth wall, as we do on this show, talking to Brogan last night about some of the injuries he's going through and kind of what his plans are, which we're going to be able to do a little bit of storytelling with Brogan in 2024 that's going to take him away from being as physical, so that should be a good healing process for him. But
Absolutely.
you know, we're taking time off, which honestly, time off is our worst enemy too. But we can get through some of these nagging injuries. We have 6 weeks off, 4 weeks off, 4 weeks off.
Yes, sir.
And then we're back to the grind. But you know, stuff like that happens, and it's just part of the game. And my biggest thing is, you know, Bergen O'Shea is one of those guys, and you're proven to be one of those guys, and I'm one of those guys, just to kind of set the example of, you know, that's part of this business. You can't, you know, I'm not going to name who, but there's guys in CBW that hurt their pinky, and then they can't perform. You know, it's like, you tape that motherfucker up and go.
Exactly.
And that's just part of the business. Might have to look into the fact that everybody's getting hurt with Jackson Law, though. Sorry, buddy.
Got some heat from the big brass.
So, obviously, like we're talking about injuries right now. What's the worst injury that you've witnessed happened since you've came to XW?
I've seen a couple. I saw Hazard almost lose his finger. I saw Anthony Steele get a forehead pussy. That was a fantastic time.
I'll say, in a couple episodes ago here on Freetime Interview, Jay Ellis talked about the worst injury that he had sustained was his broken face.
Yeah, me dropping directly on his fucking eye. I'm still feel so bad about that. One of these days he'll give me a receipt and I just won't know it's coming.
I hope not, but
Oh, well, we'll find out. It'll be on XCW. It'll be on camera, so we'll be fine.
And what was the worst that you think, though?
Honestly, it would have to be that forehead pussy. That was disgusting. That thing was so deep. And to give a little context, this man Anthony told DJ to gig him. Now, if you're a wrestler or a fan of wrestling, let me tell you just a rule of thumb. Do not tell anybody that isn't you to cut you.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody.
I agree.
That is number one. But he's got a scar to tell the tale, so maybe it'll work for him. We'll see.
So throughout a wrestling career, people have to understand that there's gonna be highs, there's gonna be lows, there's gonna be times that you're hurt, there's gonna be times that you feel great. Mm-hmm. It's a constant roller coaster, on screen, off screen. Even if it's just as, you know, like it, you know, the process of everything, of writing and storytelling, and lose streaks and you know, confrontations with wrestlers. There's so many different elements that happens from day to day to make this happen. With that being said, has there ever been a time where you just wanted to walk away from XCW completely and give it up?
No. As mad as or as sad as I could get, or down on myself as I can't leave this. If I leave this, I have nothing. This is the one thing that I look forward to, that I love with my whole heart. I need this. More than XCW needs me, I need XCW. Even if I'm just here holding up a camera, just knowing I'm here.
So a lot of people come and go through XCW over the years, of course. Most of them don't even get the opportunity to fully tell their story. You are one of those people right now that's having the opportunity that has a unique character that no one has ever seen before. And a lot of people are like, I'm not seeing it. Well, that's because we purposely, when we talked about your character right off the bat, we're like, all right, we're going to introduce this gamer. We're going to talk about that, but there's another side to this character that's coming out, and it's slowly coming out in the story that we're telling. And a lot of people don't know about what your gimmick actually is, and the more that it builds, the more story that they're seeing in what we're telling, and it's finally coming together, which is a lot of fun. But doing that is all about creating a gimmick. In your opinion, what has been the worst gimmick that you've seen come through XCW?
The worst gimmick? Oh, man. Gosh. It's a tough one. That's a real tough one, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, because not all of them are winners. I mean,
No, not all of them. I mean, you can't always have a winner. But honestly, I'm gonna be shitting on him a lot. Anthony Steele, he didn't have a fucking gimmick.
I mean, in Anthony's defense, I don't really feel like I have much of a character either. The only time that I feel like I've really had a character is the last few years. I had the virus character, which I think was maybe regarded as one of the best characters ever developed in XCW. And then now I'm doing the battle tested, where I'm the legend guy that's, you know, having to take the brunt of a lot of the younger talent or a lot of his past, and he has to battle test those things. So had Anthony had the opportunity to stay, we may have been able to develop something. But I mean, you're right, there wasn't a whole lot to his character other than you know, he was a wrestler. So I get it. Well, on the flip side of that, what do you think is the best gimmick that you've seen come through?
Honestly, I really, really enjoy Corey Lee's gimmick, because as much of it has been explored, there's so much that hasn't. So much you can tap into.
Yeah.
And he is such a great manipulator of fans' emotions. He can tell a story like no other. So I'd have to say, honestly, Corey Lee.
Yeah. Keep an eye on Take Over the World and Encounters and all those that are coming up in 2024, and you're going to see another side to this Corey Lee character that I don't think people have really tapped into yet. So obviously you've had some big nerve-wracking matches since you've been here. What do you do to prepare for a match?
Man, I'm going to sound like a psychopath. I really will. So anybody that has seen me before a match knows that I'm batshit insane. So kind of like my character, it fits pretty well. To psych myself up before a match, because the theme music used to do it for me, now it's not driving me as much. I need that extra oomph before I go out there. I will grunt as loud as I can until I'm out of breath and until I'm red in the face. Till I feel that vein start popping, and then once I feel that vein start popping, I'll go to the entranceway and I'll get ready. As soon as my entrance theme is about to hit, I will probably slap myself at least 5 to 7 times in my face as hard as I can. That's why whenever I come out, I have the big rosy red cheeks like I'm Santa Claus or something. It's because I slapped the crap out of myself. It's all for you.
So would you consider that a pre-match ritual, or is there something that you have to do before you go to the ring? Is there some kind of ritual that you have to do before you walk out there?
I'm not religious, but I pray for myself and I pray for the people that are going into the match with me, because the last thing I want is for anybody to get hurt.
And speaking of getting hurt, one thing that we have to take as wrestlers that just sucks so bad are chops.
Oh, baby.
In your opinion, what is the worst chop that you've received?
Hayden fucking Vex. I wasn't here to take Benji chops. I unfortunately missed out on the privilege and the honor to take Benji chops. All I heard.
I wish that I could say the same, but...
Yeah, I'm sure you could. All I heard was stories about Benji, but I could tell you, that man Hayden, he lights me up, and I like him too. You better keep lighting me up.
So, of course, Hayden is known for the Death by Vex. It's one of the most devastating finishes in XCW's history.
Absolutely.
What, in your opinion, is the best finish in XCW?
The best finish?
It's okay if you say me.
Dude, you're up there. Like, it might be like a tie. I'm not even playing. I'm a big mark for Eric Mason's finish. Even though we're best friends, for real, I'm a big mark for the A-Town Down. I'm also a big mark for the end of days, and a big mark, huge mark, for the Cyclone. 100%.
Fair enough. So obviously, you know, especially Tommy, I mean, you brought him up, you brought up the Cyclone, you know, when we met Tommy, the first thing I said is, I'm like, this dude looks like fuck Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then it just so happens that years later, then we're like, okay, now he's out there doing a Cyclone, and the dude looks like Brock Lesnar. So obviously Brock was a big influence on the Tommy Merriman character and Tommy, you know, as a wrestler. Who was your pro wrestling influence?
Wow. I've had a ton. But I'd have to say, if we're going character-wise.
You don't have to go character-wise.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
just in general, like, your influences.
Shawn Michaels, without a doubt, the Heartbreak Kid. The Billy Goat Will Ospreay. Sorry, Josh, I know you hate Japan.
I hate the choices he makes, too. He should have went WWE. but-
I agree with you. Totally agree with you.
Or TNA.
Exactly. He missed out so big. Last but not least, AJ Styles. 100% going back to TNA.
And talking about TNA, the first thing that comes to my mind about TNA is the innovation of some of the concepts that they've created over the year. King of the Mountains and Ultimate X and all these different Elevation X, all these different crazy concepts. What is your favorite concept match?
Ooh. Just any concept?
Mm-hmm.
Man. You're going to say, what the fuck? An exploding barbed wire death match.
Oh.
100%. I'm a freaky fuck. I love my death matches.
Well, never say never here in XCW. I think the only thing that we don't have at this point is a pyrotech. So I'm sure that I'll meet one someday, and then we'll be off to the races. So
Absolutely.
So with concept matches, typically comes with with different gimmicks. Whether you're using a ladder, you're using tables, you're using tacks, you're using, in Chris Jones's world, you're using weed eaters.
Yes.
What is the hardest weapon shot that you've received?
Oh, man. Hardest weapon shot. Probably. I don't even know. I've taken a couple, but I don't know. Probably be one of the ones that I took from Brogan. Probably one, because we told each other to light
Just
each
lay it
other
in.
the fuck up.
Lay it in.
Absolutely. I messed him up so bad. It was like 16 chair shots to the back in a row.
Hey, that was he told me about that very spot 2 weeks prior to SummerMania. So Brogan has something about his character, his actual character. I'm not talking about the Brogan O'Shea character. I mean,
Right.
him as a person. He's one of those guys that no matter what wants to go out there and get the other guy over just as much as he gets himself over, and that doesn't happen a lot in our locker room or any locker room. There's guys that are out there for themselves.
Absolutely.
Brogan is not that at all. He wants to make sure that not only he's putting on the best match, but he's also able to put guys over. And he came to me and he's like, hey, this should be, we're talking about bringing out the attitude in Hunter Halcyon for the very first time. Why not do it right here? I keep coming back, and he just beats the shit out of me. And so
Yes.
he already had that all laid out. So
God bless you, Brogan. I would say I'd pay for your hospital bills, but we both know I'm broke.
So as of this recording, we're in about mid-December here. Not sure when this is going to air, but for question's sake, 6 months from now, we're looking at going into SummerMania season. We're going to be looking at around Extreme King in June. With that being said, where do you see Hunter Halcyon being 6 months from now?
I see Hunter Halcyon being everything that we've talked about, which means Hunter Halcyon should be absolutely exposed to the XCW audience and should be, hopefully at least, in a pretty damn good match at SummerMania.
I don't think there's any doubt about that one.
Good to know.
So this next question, most people this season has used you as the answer for this question.
Oh.
I'll get your opinion on if you also think that it's yourself. But there's been a lot over the years. Chris Jones, guy debuted his very first show. 2 shows later, he's winning what is now the hardcore title, then the power title.
Right.
We've seen Hayden Vex come into XCW and immediately knocked me off in the first 2 matches, wins Extreme King. After his debut in April, he's winning Extreme King in June and main event in Summermania in August. There's been so many guys that's come through here and just torn through everything. Who, in your opinion, is the fastest rising star in XW history?
That is the easiest question you could have asked me.
Okay.
Fastest rising in history?
Mm-hmm.
Give me Eric Mason for 200, please.
Another common answer for this question is definitely Eric Mason. 2 New Age championships under his belt, and he still hasn't even hit his first year yet.
Right.
And now he's fully involved in a storyline for the international title. So.
And I believe he was around, what, 200 days for the New Age title in total for this year? That's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. So obviously Eric Mason is someone that a lot of the XW Galaxy, a lot of guys in the roster don't even know that Mason and I had a relationship prior to him coming to XCW. I knew him as a kid, and we were around each other quite a bit. Intermingled with people in his family and stuff like that. Worked with his mom at a shoot job years ago. So a lot of things come in on that. And I know his parents, personally. So upon his arrival in XCW, I suggested to him that his real name is Ethan. I suggested to him that he use the name Eric as a tribute to his father who had passed away a couple of years ago, which has worked out great for him. He's thanked me, his sister, his mother. They've all been really thankful that I gave them the opportunity to use that name. And there's been a lot of names over the years that really put a lot of thought in. Hayden Vex, Jason Arcane, Hunter Halcyon. And then there's, even single word names, Venom, Void, Crisis, Carnage. We've, had to do a lot over the years in trying to find the perfect foil, the perfect name for that character. Who, in your opinion, has the best name in XCW?
Evan Phoenix.
Fair enough.
I love it so much. Perfect for his character.
Obviously, Evan started as a superhero, so making him the Phoenix, the bird, all kind of ties in. So
right.
Now, I know you probably don't know this full list because you've only been here for a short time, but just kind of answer this the best that you can. Who should be in the XCW Hall of Fame that isn't yet?
Man, there's so many great names, and I know I'm going to leave people out, and I'm probably going to get heat for it, and I'm very sorry, but it's just the way the cookie's going to crumble here today. First off, somebody that's on the active roster.
Okay.
Somebody that I think puts the work in every single time he's here, that deserves it without a doubt. Brady Branson. 100%. That dude works his ass off for XCW.
I agree.
And he sacrifices so much just to make sure that the quality is right there, that the booking is right there, that the quality of the matches even are right there. He's awesome. Phenomenal.
He's definitely taken a role that Hazard left a big hole a few years ago. So he's definitely stepped into that role.
And another one for his beginnings here, and now him returning, doing amazing stuff, helping all of the roster, being more than willing to help all of the roster. Leon Lux, you deserve your flowers. You will get your flowers. Also, one more who is not on the roster, I would have to say. He might be in there, so I might be
That's all right.
stupid.
Yeah, that's fine.
Psychor.
Psychor is actually in the Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
Yes.
As he should be.
Well deserved, of
Very
course.
well deserved.
So obviously this one you're not going to be able to answer as easily because you've technically only had one. But you can name somebody else's possibly as well. What theme song pumps you up the most?
Either Jay Ellis or Evan Phoenix. 100%. Nothing hits me like those two songs. I will sing every single word until the song stops, till Josh hits stop. I'm singing it.
So you haven't really had much of an opportunity to work as a heel. You've mostly worked as a babyface through your career thus far. But what do you think you would prefer to work, a baby or a heel?
I think I would prefer baby, just because it's so easy. It's so natural.
See, actually, in my opinion, and of course I've done both, I think being a heel is easier. Getting heat, to me, is fairly easy. But so that's not a very common answer. So that's good that you have that perspective, because to me, being a babyface is much harder. To get people on your side to me is much more difficult. So,
well, I'm glad I can switch it up a little bit.
So that means once you turn heel, you're gonna have a day off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, when you work for this company, there's under the lens, there's on the spot, there's showtime, and then there's just our bi-weekly shows as it is, and then there's shows like this one right here. The cameras are always on us.
Absolutely.
You can't get away with much of anything in an XCW locker room because there's going to be a camera in your face.
Yep.
Were you ever camera shy?
100%. 100%. I still am to this day. I've been sitting here. I'm sure you felt the couch shaking most of the time.
James Cerebro calls this the eye that never blinks.
It is. It really is. Because no matter what, everything you do, every expression, every movement, it's on there.
Yeah.
So if I was to just blow my nose, a little snot rocket was going, y'all see that. And I have to live with that in my head, knowing that y'all just saw my snot. My dick fell out on camera once. I have to live with that.
Wasn't an XCW, but...
Thank God. Thank God. But we have to live with that.
Did you have any prior wrestling experience before XCW?
Not at all. I wrestled in my own backyard with my buddy, replicating stuff we saw on Grimm's Toy Show. And watching people on YouTube saying, this is how you do a swanton, and then trying to replicate it on a trampoline. That was the most I had before I ever came here.
I'll admit we have had conversations with people from GTS, and hopefully we will be able to have the opportunity to work with them in the future. So
please.
Who were you trained by before your wrestling career began here in XCW?
Me, myself, and I.
Well, listen. Upon your debut here, who were you trained by?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
No,
misunderstood. There was a bunch of people that had a lot of roles in my development. Corey Lee being a huge one. Brady Branson. You yourself having outlooks from not necessarily in the ring more, but more outside the ring, feeding in what I need to work on. Also just working untaped matches with guys like SAT, guys like Boyd. That's what really I feel helped me get to where I needed to be here in XCW.
Yeah, and I mean, in this day and age, I mean, you go back to the early days of Freetime interviewing, you're trained by one person, and honestly, in XCW these days, whether it's production, it's writing, it's editing, it's training, it's anything, it takes an entire team. So
absolutely,
it takes a lot of guys to make what we do happen at such a big scale like we do. So speaking of teams, there's been a lot of teams that's come through XCW over the years. There's, teams from Team Rain, Limited Edition. There's been factions like the EBW Untouchables. There's so many that I can name. Starstruck, and it's Vengeance. It's on and on and on and on.
Yes.
Who's the best team or stable that you've seen come through XCW?
Through my time?
Yep. Well, just in general, like what has stood the test of time as your favorite?
Man. I had to say Violent Ending was a great team. They were an awesome team. But me right now, I'm really, really digging the Real Ones tag run. I love everything that Justin Parsley and Rob Slater are. I eat that shit up for breakfast. I love it.
And I don't think a lot of people notice this, but of course the tag division has always been kind of a struggle. Mm-hmm. And I've really, I've made it very clear that, that's one of my big focus points for 2024, and it started with encounters. If people didn't realize it, and obviously we don't know when this is posting, but if you haven't noticed yet, all of encounters was pretty much based around the Real Ones in the Foundation story.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. And the tag team division has definitely been heating up in
100%.
XCW. So speaking of heat, not everybody sees eye to eye in XCW. There's a lot of egos, there's a lot of personalities, and it's hard to keep all those things straight. Is there anyone from XCW that you personally do not like?
As of right now, me sitting here in this moment, I can't say a person I don't like. I can say stuff about people I don't like, but there's not one person that's on my nerves. I've had some issues with some people. Me and DJ had our issues at one point. We weren't.
DJ has been the answer of every person on this season so far. So
really,
yes.
Yikes. That's a little bit of heat, buddy. That's a little bit of heat.
He's still out there doing his job, though. So
He is. So, what can you say?
Anybody that's come through XCW that you personally didn't like?
Anthony Steele. Fucking hated him. Had to fucking put up a fake face to him this whole time. I was, yeah, okay, buddy. As soon as he walked away, I had to fucking clear out my nostrils and wash my hands. Every single time.
So one thing that I pride myself on with XCW that a lot of other companies, and it's not a knock on them, but most of the time it's, you know, just guys out there beating each other up, and they're telling the story based off of like, you have the title and I want it. We try to get a little more creative here. I mean, we've had people get stabbed, we've had rapists at gunpoint, and I mean, we've had cops beat up, black people and superheroes. Like, it's chaos here. I tried to poison Brogan's entire family. What, in your opinion, has been the best storyline that you've seen in XCW?
Man, I gotta say the story that's unfolding right now, EBW. Just from top to bottom, I don't think there's a better story to tell. It tells a story of the history of XCW.
And a lot of people like look at the things that came with it, like the 5 to 23 thing, all that stuff.
Right.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I got more questions here with Hunter Halcyon. We'll be right back. Here on XCW Freetime interview, and I'm sitting here with Hunter Halcyon, and we've been talking about the best storyline. Of course, we're both repping right now. EBW colors, as we talk about, you know, one of the best storylines unfolding and currently right now in XCW is, of course, XCW versus EBW. A callback to something that happened 10 years ago, almost to the day. You know, I talked about the 5/2/23 and how, you know, that was the date that the copyright came up of the original EBW. It was almost exactly 10 years to the day. All those things played in. So there's a really integral, a really, you know, impressive story behind it. But to create an impressive story like that, you have to have some big rivals. And of course, you know, we've got rivals like Miano, Diaz, and Brogan O'Shea. Brady Branson and ACT, of course. They won Rivalry of the Year in 2023. Mm-hmm. Who, in your opinion, has been the best rivalry that you've seen in XCW? And it's okay if you say you.
I don't want to be that self-centered. Man, I would honestly have to say the best rivalry that I have seen. Honestly, just for the payoff and what it all meant in the whole of the story, it was Brady and ACT. 100%. The story was very good between them. And plus, you get the big steel cage match, the big comeuppance to Brady Branson. It's awesome. Couldn't have wrote a better story, could you, Josh?
So obviously, you in the early days, XW has competed in 30 plus different locations over the 21 years of the company. You've had the opportunity to work at the Baxter YMCA, at the St. Paul Gym, at Mainstay Arena. What has been your favorite location that you've had the opportunity to compete in?
Ooh. Man, honestly, have to be the Franklin Arena. I love it. It's the air conditioning draws it over the top for me. That's all it is. If there was air conditioning in St. Paul, oh my God, that'd 100% be my venue.
Yeah,
I just love the sound in there.
I don't think the Baxter's completely off the table. I think that we will be able to make a return there someday, so never say never on that one either. So, you've already built up a following. You've already built up a fan base. Everybody enjoys watching your work. Everybody loves watching your character unfold. So that leaves the question of, what legacy do you think Hunter Halcyon leaves behind?
In the grand scheme of things, I just want to leave behind that anybody can do it. Anybody my size, because that was my big thing as a kid. I'm 5'7", 140 pounds for shoot. I'm tiny. I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think my body could sustain the bumps, sustain the damage. But whether it can or it won't, I will make sure that I can prove that anybody, as long as they love this and truly want this, they can do this.
And yeah, I mean, I think growing up, it was always a size thing. When you're watching wrestling, whether it's, on TV or even independent or whatever, like, it was all about size. And though size is still very integral in what we do, I think, you're getting to an era where you get to see guys like Jungle Boy and Johnny Gargano and, Rey Mysterio and guys like that really have made a huge name for themselves, that maybe not the biggest guys in stature. So
right.
What about XCW? What kind of legacy will XCW leave behind, or what kind of legacy do you feel like XCW already has? Because at this point, like, when we ask this question, we're talking about what kind of legacy is XCW going to leave behind. It's kind of already got one. Yeah,
cemented a legacy. I think it speaks for itself in the fact that, like you like to say, this is the symbol of excellence in the amateur pro wrestling community. There is nobody doing what XCW is doing. There's nobody bringing 3 to 4 shows out from all across the United States to come wrestle in one venue. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is doing the cutting edge stories, the absolute amazing production, the great team that we have from top to bottom, from the announcers to the workers to the people that help put up everything and tear it down. I can't ask for a better group of guys and a better legacy than what XCW has.
Yeah, and I think that was what was special about Encounters, because, like, not only are we going out and we're putting on a production that, like, most independent companies are not even putting out.
Right.
But then to have guys from all over the country, 6 or 7 different companies were represented at Encounters, to be able to bring them in, work a lot of these guys in cold matches that have no build, and then also be able to tie in our storylines to all of those things. Like, it took a lot of hard work, 3 weeks of planning, and a lot of screaming, a lot of headaches, a lot of different things I'm still dealing with even now, trying to get footage all where it needs to be, and just being able to tell the stories that I need to tell that match it. Because, I mean, technically our next 2 events are also going to be tied into what we've done at Encounters, so all those things have to tie in together. Yeah. No one, I don't think, is being that creative or that innovative when it comes to having that talent, be able to tell our stories, you know, because I'm not going to say that we're the first ones to have guys from other federations come in, because that's not true at all.
Right.
But to be able to intertwine our stories and keep those things rolling on top of building to our next big event, and be able to bring some of those cold guys in and let them showcase their talents with some of our talents. And for everyone, there wasn't a match on the card of the 24 matches that were filmed where anyone was like, that match sucked.
Exactly.
And so we pulled off something pretty special.
Absolutely. And on top of that, here's something that truly speaks to it. I think we can comfortably say everybody got over.
Yeah.
Everybody got over.
Yeah, I agree. How has XCW impacted your life?
Do you want the negatives or the positives?
Both. Lay it on us.
Well, it's taken some weekends away, which that is the absolute least of my worries when it comes to this. But God, it has given me such an outlet and such a place for me to be comfortable and have fun and really share what I love with people. Because growing up, I had no friends that liked wrestling. Not a single friend that liked wrestling. I had one. And he was in and out of it, never really truly cared for it. Now I have a whole family that is nothing but wrestling, and that is so beautiful to me. This is all I've wanted.
What is the best thing to come out of XCW for you personally? So obviously it's had a huge impact that, you know, it's taken up your time and you've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people, but what's the best thing that's come out of it for you personally? Like, I wouldn't have a wife or a son without XCW. So,
Right. Well, honestly, personally, it'd have to be the respect. I wouldn't have the respect for this business or the respect for the people that are in this business like I do now if I didn't get into it. I would be just that typical IWC internet mark. Just, oh, you botched a top rope moonsault. Like, there's so many intricacies and so much amazing stuff in this business. I think everybody who is in it deserves their place in it, and it's one of the only things that's perfect for everybody that is in it. As long as you love it, it will love you back. I promise that.
what has been your proudest achievement today?
Knowing that I can be considered one of the best on the roster, in ring wise, and that I can carry a solid match with anyone. That is so huge for me, because knowing that I can work anyone. Now you can book me against anybody. Book me against the broom, Josh. I'll let the broom go over. You know me. But it's awesome. I would never have the self-confidence and drive for this if it wasn't for XCW.
A little bit of a funner question here. Where did you come up with your name and gimmick?
Well, I didn't come up with my name. And you came up with most of my gimmick. 100%. So all of that genius goes right here to this man. He made Hunter Halcyon.
And
If it wasn't for him.
And like we talked about earlier, like the slow burn of the story of your character has been so fun to see develop. And I don't get the chance with everyone to fully tell the story of what they're doing. So
Right.
having the chance to fully tell your story right now and like see your character unfold slowly, it shouldn't all happen at once. You shouldn't blow your load at once. You should let it simmer and keep that foreplay going for a few years before you get right into it. So
Exactly.
there's more to come.
And also something else that's insanely cool there is stuff that we talked about my character 2 years ago. The first day I got here that we haven't even touched yet.
And I mean, there's stuff that hasn't been acknowledged whatsoever about the
Right.
character. So, and honestly, I'm notorious for letting people forget about certain aspects of a character or a story, so that when it does roll back to that, they're like, oh yeah, like. of course, we've seen you come in and play the Switch or play a game with Eric Mason and stuff like that. But then it's like, what's the background of you being such a gamer? Well, then we had Brogan O'Shea go out there and bust a controller and kind of tell the backstory of why gaming is so important to your character. And so people are like, oh, so like there's a lot of aha moments that people really haven't gotten to yet.
Absolutely.
Most controversial question is, of course, always saved for last. So what do you say to those that say wrestling is fake?
Go fuck yourself. Simply. Ask his injuries. Ask my injuries. Ask anybody who has stepped foot in a fucking wrestling ring if that feels nice to bump on. Simply. And I'll leave it at that. Because you should interpret the rest of it for yourself. If you are that dumb fuck saying that it's fake, it's not. I promise you. Come step in the ring. I'll give you a suplex.
And it's not even just about the moves. I think that's one thing that I've been talking about on these shows throughout is, you know, a lot of people are, yeah, of course, it's a predetermined finish, but a lot of people don't think about, you know, when you're working 2 and 3 years, or, you know, let's look at, you know, Blackheart as an example. So the guy has, you know, worked the last 20 years, and he finally, you know, got to a position, not that XCWA didn't feel big to him, but like XCW was, you know, that next big goal, that next big standard. And he was in the company for years and years before really getting the opportunity to work in the main event. And, you know, now winning the world title, winning Superstar of the Year, and then being put in for the Kurt Aston Memorial Honor Award this year. You see him draw a lot of emotion. You see, you know, Jay Ellis finally capturing the international title and had a lot of raw emotion. So that, you know, that plays into it, you know. So that's something else to me that makes it real, is that, you know, people work very hard to get to where they are. So there's a lot of real emotion that goes into what we do. It's not just about getting punched in the face, and I've been punched in the face plenty. But I mean, on top of that, you know, there's real emotion. You know, when you watch your buddy that you've wrestled with for 15, 20 years walk through that curtain for the very last time,
that hits. Yeah,
it's hard. And that draws real emotion. And so, like I've been saying on here, wrestling's not fake, people are. So.
Exactly. And along with the sacrifice that you have to give, the time you're away from your family, the occasions you miss, the days that you just want to relax and be at home, you can't, because you have to work, you have to put on that show, you have to put that smile on that kid's face that's watching.
Yeah, I mean, I missed part of my sister's graduation for Extreme King one year. And that's just part of the gig. Hazard buried his grandma the same day as Extreme King in 2017. He still shut up and punched Void in the face. So that's what we do.
Right.
So there's real sacrifices. There's real emotion. And you know, bumping on a ladder isn't necessarily something that you learn. So
no.
Well, that pretty much wraps up this edition of XCW Freetime Interview. We thank you guys for watching us here on XC Wrestling 1. There's plenty more content coming out for you throughout this winter season. But from Fletch and Hunter Halcyon, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on XCW Freetime Interview.